Yeah, that sounds like an Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. 1970s crime drama.
But
The
better.
streets of San Francisco.
Doesn't it sound like that? And all of a sudden, Brian saved the whole thing with
Epilogue.
epilogue.
Nice.
There you go. Nice save.
It was
Thanks
Michael,
for the thought, sir.
Michael Douglas's first big thing.
I thought it was, Streets of San Francisco.
Carl Malone.
Right. Yeah, Carl Malone. Right. But then there was also the Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., FBI.
Yes.
Remember?
Right.
An emergency.
Oh, God.
Right? Adam 12.
Squad 51.
Well, that was in 1935. Thanks, Gramps. Car 51, where are you?
No, squad, they were
Rubin.
squad.
That was actually
no,
37.
No. They were Squad 51.
Oh, Engine 51.
Engine 51,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, Engine 51.
And whenever they left the station,
Thanks, Dixie.
KMG 365.
Thank you,
That was their
Dixie.
sign-up number.
Yeah, your new name's Dixie. Wasn't that the nurse? Dixie. Thanks, Dixie. I want to see you in sideburns down to here.
That's right.
The sides growing out a little bit.
Oh, my God.
yeah,
Dixie.
Yeah, come on, man.
That terrible frosted hair.
Yeah. Well, she also, her and Flo were cast in the same sort
Pretty
of
much.
thing. You know, whoever that was. Hey, great to have you along here for this new year. And before we get started with our next guest, in fact, Sam Rubin's joining us again. Sam Rubin is the president and CEO of a company called LightPath Technologies, and I've dug into this company quite a bit. When the first time they were on, and I really spent a lot of time in the last week just digging into this thing, and it's really interesting what they're doing. And I think we're going to spend quite a bit of time with him over the next several months, just featuring their company and digging in. But before we do that, Hattersley, any New Year's resolutions for you? Or is it more? See, I don't do New Year's resolutions. I do goals. Okay. So I've done goals pretty regularly, and I was actually looking at my last 6 years' goals. I nailed every one of them, all 6 years except for two things:
Jeez.
surfing again and kite surfing. That's it. Literally.
Neither of those are my goals.
So I added. I got to add another goal.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to add another goal, and that's to steal your wife Barbie's crack corn recipe. Have you had some of that?
Oh, yes.
Dude.
And the cookies.
Seriously,
thing.
Brian, is this your first year with crack corn? Have you had any? Second time. Okay, yeah. It's.
That's a word. That's
Why
a
are
lofty
we
goal.
not investing in that and creating a brand out of that? I'm not kidding. Everybody, is this like one of those things, like the first guy who tasted like a Dorito, right? It's like, hey, we got to sell these,
Right.
Yes.
right? I mean, somebody's wife or husband in the back room made that stuff, right? So have you guys thought of that? Too ambitious? Then we buy the recipe.
It's a gift. we do it for friends.
Can I would like to do it for commerce and give you guys a royalty.
Sure.
It's like
Hello.
I'm in.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
we got investors.
We have the theme song. We'll make it. We'll do it.
Case is already
I'll
looking
get
it
the
up.
rest of you there. Hey, one of the best parts of this program is one of you viewers of the program gave us Sam Rubin's name and the company LightPath Technologies. They are publicly traded under the stock symbol LPTH. Their website, of course, lightpath.com. And I give you once again, we finally get him back on the air with us, Sam Rubin. Sam, how are you, sir? Great to talk to you.
I am great.
There he
Good
is.
to see you again.
Hey, give us an overview for the people that missed you last time and some of the folks that have suggested you come on the show. Give us an overview of what you guys do, really the evolution of visible sensory, contactless imaging. I think I'm saying that correctly if I've been spending enough time on your websites over the last couple of days. Talk about that.
Pretty much all the right words, maybe not in the same order I would put them, but yeah. Well, good to see you again anyway. And we're a company in the field of optics and photonics. We specialize in thermal imaging and infrared imaging, which really is the ability to see and image everything we cannot see with our eyes. And so contactless temperature measurement is probably one of the most famous applications for it, which unfortunately all of us became aware of and knowledgeable of during the COVID time, where those were used for measuring temperature, elevated skin temperature, and so on. But besides the temperature measurements, there's many applications of infrared imaging, and anywhere from process controls to defense application to hunting even, and many more. And this whole area is growing significantly, and we're contributing into it with some very unique technologies that we have that are making that whole area more affordable and more accessible to many other applications.
You know, I think the one thing that we can think about when we talk about optics is wearables in the recreational sports sort of game, all the way over to the first responder wearable devices. Talk about that array for us, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are two really well-known and used applications in recent years. So in the first one, anyone that goes hunting is now more and more familiar with thermal gun sights. What in the past used to be only a dream, only a defense application, or only if you had $100,000 to buy a thermal gun sight, today you can get it for a few thousands of dollars. That's because of significant changes in cost structure. One of them is our materials. Instead of using germanium or very expensive materials, we now make a glass that can be used for infrared imaging and for such contactless or such imaging devices like the gun sights. Another great one, which is really, I think, is going to even change even more now, is the firefighting. Firefighting in the last few years have adopted thermal imaging as a way of seeing through smoke.
No kidding.
A really great application, saving lots of lives. I mean, really, talk about getting satisfaction from something.
So I'm assuming this is almost like a night vision sort of thing. And speaking of that, and you talk about first responders, and you talk about wearable devices. By the way, Sam Rubin's his name, president and CEO of a company called LightPath Technologies. They are publicly traded under the stock symbol LPTH. So our 100 million broadcast homes now know your stock symbol, and our 150 radio stations now know who you are, but we're also on American Forces Radio Network in 175 countries. I want to talk about, you talk about first responders and military. Talk about those applications as well, because I know that you guys are deep into that.
Yeah, so what's really interesting is, when you look at infrared imaging, there's sort of two different scales altogether. One is called long wave, which is a cheaper cameras. They can see through smoke, for example. They can see people, cars, low temperature events like that. The other is a mid-wave, which is typically a $100,000 camera, cryogenically cooled, very complicated, very expensive, can do lots of things, but you really can't afford a $100,000 camera for many things.
Well,
we recently came out. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Because I was going to say it's cost prohibitive. That's the problem.
Exactly. And we recently came out with a new innovative camera. We call it Mantis, like the shrimp. And that camera can image both what is called mid-wave and long-wave. And it's at a much more reasonable price point. It's $10,000 to $15,000 price. And so now we're suddenly enabling applications that before everyone knew could happen, but no one's going to spend $100,000 on it.
Sure.
One of them, for example, in firefighting. You can see through smoke. That's great. You can save people. But there's another element called smoldering. And that is, after you put out the fire, many times there's left this sort of flameless smoldering of material, especially, in wildfires. And so you oftentimes see a fire truck left there and waiting to see that the fire isn't starting again. Now, with this camera, you should be able to now see smoldering.
See, can you imagine the applications? I mean, you're just scratching the surface there. Sam, you're coming back with us next week, pal. I'm so glad to see you again. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Sam Rubin, LightPath Technologies. LPTH is their stock symbol. LightPath.com. More Big Biz coming up.